Season 6, Episode 1. What if the Vikings were Stoics? Does internal mastery make you invisible? If you mastered fear, desire, and fate completely, but the world never noticed and your life never changed, would you still call life a victory? This is the paradox of Stoicism. A life of internal mastery may leave you invincible, yet unseen. Vikings. Long ships cutting through stormy seas, shields clashing, axes raised, warriors screaming for glory. They were fearless, merciless, legendary. And their world was ruled by gods, Odin, Thor, and a fate that seemed written in the stars. These gods, these myths, weren't just stories. They were drivers of action, frameworks that pushed men into leadership, into battle, and into history itself. Vikings believed in word, fate. Life was uncertain, but boldness and courage could earn you honour. And honour was everything. Personal reputation determined who could lead, who could inspire, who could rally men under a chieftain's banner. Glory promised Valhalla. Death in battle was not failure, but immortality in song. And divine favour reinforced every choice. Cleverness, bravery, cunning, all measured against the approval of the gods. Through these beliefs, Vikings rose to power. They raided England, they settled in Normandy. They fought Christian kingdoms in France and Britain, temporarily ruling lands, imposing their will, their law, their order. Their courage and ambition, intertwined with myth, propelled them forward. And yet, it was not permanent. Eventually, Christian kingdoms reasserted themselves. The French, the Anglo-Saxons, and later the Normans absorbed or displaced Viking power. Death, chance, societal structures, the outcomes of history were indifferent to individual bravery. No matter how bold or skilled or strategic the Vikings were, the world had its own logic. Now imagine a Viking who is a Stoic. No gods, no glory, no Valhalla. Fate is real, but approached rationally. Accepted, not feared, not manipulated for fame. Honour is internal, rooted in virtue and reason. Courage remains, but not for the applause of others. Death is indifferent. Raiding, conquest, glory, all the sparks that drove historical victories, they'd vanish. A Stoic Viking could still fight, still explore, still act boldly, yet their actions might leave no mark on history. England might never feel their wrath. France might never fear their longships. They would act rightly, virtuously, courageously, and yet the world might ignore them entirely. This is the Stoic tension. Internal mastery does not guarantee external recognition. The world is chaotic, full of factors beyond your control: society, chance, the decisions of others, historical currents. You can be invincible in yourself, unshaken by fear, desire, or fate, yet invisible externally. And here is the real philosophical question. Does your triumph matter if no one notices? If history never changes because of your virtue, does that diminish its worth? Stoicism says no. True victory is internal. Mastery over yourself is a triumph that cannot be stolen, corrupted, or destroyed. External success is fleeting. Internal excellence endures. Contrast this with the historical Vikings. They acted for glory and myth and temporarily shaped the world, but their external triumphs were unstable. Wars were lost, kingdoms fell, legends faded. A Stoic Viking might leave no trace on maps or sagas, yet their mind remains unconquered, their courage intact, their freedom unshakable. The lesson is striking. Humans crave impact, recognition, and legacy. We want our lives to ripple outward, to shape the world. But history often ignores the wise, the disciplined, and the virtuous. Stoicism forces us to confront a paradox. What if the most meaningful victories are invisible to everyone but yourself? And that, perhaps, is the ultimate measure of courage: to act rightly, to remain virtuous, to face fate with clarity, knowing it may leave no mark on the world, to be invisible externally, yet unconquerable internally. So, as we think about leadership, ambition, and historical influence, remember, external power is fragile. Internal mastery is eternal. The Vikings fought, they conquered, and built temporary kingdoms, but they could not conquer themselves fully. The Stoic might never conquer a kingdom, yet they have achieved what the world cannot take from them. And in that, we find the profound tension of human existence, the pursuit of virtue in a world that may never notice.